they let it happen. WWE looked you dead in the face, handed you Brock Lesnar as a fixture of Smackdown, had you believed the Beast Incarnate was untouchable, and then, without warning, without build, without a single moment of preparation, Bron Breakker ran through him like he was nothing. Like Brock Lesnar, the man who ended The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, the man who squashed John Cena, the man who has terrorized this industry for over 2 decades, was just another obstacle in a hallway. And if that doesn't make your blood boil or your jaw drop depending on which side of this you're on, then you have not been paying attention to what WWE is quietly doing right now. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why this moment is either the greatest decision WWE has made in years or the most reckless, irresponsible thing they have done to one of the most valuable acts in the history of professional wrestling. Drop a comment right now, Team Bron or Team Brock, because this comment section is about to go to war. Segment 1 set the scene, what actually happened. Let's talk about exactly what went down on SmackDown, because context is everything here, and I refuse to let you walk into this conversation without the full picture. Brock Lesnar had been doing what Brock Lesnar does best. He showed up on SmackDown, he commanded the entire atmosphere of the arena, he reminded everyone in that building and everyone watching at home that there is no one on that roster who operates on his level. The crowd was reacting, the energy was there, and then the music hit. Bron Breakker came down that ramp and the temperature in that arena changed instantly. This wasn't a scheduled match. This wasn't a contract signing. This wasn't a stare down in the middle of a promo segment where both men talk trash and shake hands at the end. No, Bron Breakker came with one intention: to send a message so loud, so violent, so undeniable that the entire WWE locker room would feel it in their chests. And he delivered. Breakker hit Brock with a spear that looked like it could have cracked concrete. Not a love tap. Not a transition move. A spear with the kind of explosion behind it that reminds you this man is not a character, he is a freight train wearing human skin. Lesnar went down. The crowd erupted. Some were shocked, some were screaming in pure adrenaline, and Bron Breakker stood over one of the most decorated, feared, and respected men in the history of this sport, and he stared into the camera like he'd been waiting his entire career for that exact moment. Because he has been. Segment 2: Who is Bron Breakker and why this matters so much? Let me take a second here for anybody who still isn't fully locked in on Bron Breakker, because you need to understand the magnitude of what this young man represents before we go any further. Bron Breakker is the son of Rick Steiner, nephew of Scott Steiner. He carries bloodlines that go directly back to one of the most physically dominant tag teams and individual performers professional wrestling has ever produced. But here's what separates Bron from being just another second-generation legacy act: the man can actually go. He is not writing his father's name. He is not a nostalgia project. He is not a PR stunt. Bron Breakker at his peak is a generational athlete. He moves like someone who was literally engineered in a laboratory to be a professional wrestler. The speed he carries at his size is offensive. The power in his frame at his age is absurd. And the most terrifying thing? He is still learning. He is still finding his ceiling. We are watching a man in the early chapters of what could be a Hall of Fame career, and WWE knows it. So when you put Bron Breakker in a story with Brock Lesnar, you are not just booking a match. You are passing a torch. You are making a statement. You are telling the audience, the locker room, the world, this is the next face of physical dominance in WWE. This is the man who will make you feel what you felt the first time you saw Brock Lesnar walk down that ramp in 2002 and realized the sport had changed forever. History doesn't repeat itself, but sometimes it rhymes so loudly it shakes the walls. Segment 3: The audacity of the ambush and why it works. Now let's talk about the way this was done, because the ambush format is not an accident. This was a deliberate creative decision, and I want to give it the analysis it deserves. WWE did not give Bron Breakker a promo to build this up. They did not have him cut 20 minutes of television time talking about how much he wants a piece of Brock Lesnar. They did not telegraph this with a week of backstage interviews and social media hype. They let Brock be Brock. They let the Beast operate in his natural habitat, commanding the room, and then they sent Bron through him like a missile. That is smart television. Because the element of surprise does something to your brain as a viewer that no amount of prepackaged hype can replicate. When something happens on WWE television that you did not see coming, something that feels real, something that feels dangerous, it burns into your memory. You remember exactly where you were. You remember the second it happened. You share it. You debate it. You come to YouTube and watch every single piece of content breaking it down. That's why you're here right now. The ambush also tells you something about Bron Breakker's character that words never could. You can tell me a man is dangerous. You can have commentators talk about how much of a threat he is. You can dress him up in intimidating music and aggressive lighting, or you can have him walk up to the single most legitimately feared human being in WWE history and put him on the mat before anyone can blink. Actions are louder. Always have been. Always will be. Segment 4: Brock Lesnar's side of this, the Beast being used perfectly. Here's where I'm going to say something that might surprise some of you, and I want you to hear me out completely before you go to the comments section. Being ambushed by Bron Breakker might be the best thing that has happened to Brock Lesnar's legacy on WWE television in years. Think about it. Brock Lesnar at this stage of his career doesn't need wins. He doesn't need another championship reign. He doesn't need another squash. What Brock Lesnar needs is to be used as the ultimate measuring stick, the mountain every new monster has to climb before the audience believes they're truly on another level. Brock is the test. He has always been the test. And right now, Bron Breakker just passed the opening round of that test in dramatic fashion. This isn't about burying Brock Lesnar. Nobody in their right mind thinks a spear on Smackdown erases 2 decades of destruction. F5S through announce tables. Title defenses that lasted 60 seconds. WrestleMania main events. Conquering the streak. Brock Lesnar's legacy is carved in granite, and it will outlast every single one of us watching this video. But what it can do, what this ambush does do, is elevate Bron Breakker in the eyes of casual viewers who may not have been fully bought in yet. Because now they are. Now every single person who watched that Smackdown moment asks the same question: what happens when these two actually collide for real? What does a full match look like? Who walks out standing? And that question, that irresistible, unanswerable question hanging in the air, is the foundation of every great rivalry in WWE history. Segment 5: where does this story go from here? Alright, let's talk about the road ahead, because this is where I need every single one of you to engage with me in the comments, because I have theories and I want yours. Option 1: WWE fast-tracks this into a match at a major premium live event, WrestleMania level, potentially. You let the tension build across a few more Smackdown appearances, maybe Brock gets his hands on Bron in a surprise retaliation, and then you let these two absolute monsters collide on the grandest stage. The crowd would be electric. The build-up would be must-see television. And the outcome, whoever wins, creates a definitive statement. Option 2: WWE drags this out slowly, deliberately, letting the pot simmer until it overflows. A long rivalry across multiple events. A best-of series where momentum shifts each time. A story with layers and chapters rather than a sprint. This is the high-risk, high-reward path, because if the execution is even slightly off, you lose the audience's patience. But if done right, you produce a rivalry people talk about for a generation. Option 3, and this is the one that makes my stomach drop in the best possible way: WWE uses this moment to fully crown Bron Breakker on one single night. One PPV match. Bron wins clean. Brock sells it like the devastating loss it would be, and just like that, a new era begins. No slow burn. No rematch. A coronation. I don't know which path they take. Nobody outside of Stamford knows. But what I do know is that every single option on the table is exciting right now, and that is a luxury WWE hasn't always had in recent years. Closing statement: call to action. Here's the bottom line for Ring Rumble 1. Bron Breakker standing over Brock Lesnar on SmackDown is not just a wrestling moment. It is a declaration. It is WWE pointing at the future with both hands and saying, this is him. This is the one. Get comfortable with that name, because you are going to be hearing it for the next decade. Whether you are furious about how Brock was handled, or whether you are standing out of your seat over what Bron just proved about himself, you felt something. And that is the whole point. Wrestling at its finest makes you feel something so deeply you can't stay quiet about it. So don't stay quiet. Drop your take in the comments right now. Is this the greatest thing WWE has done for Bron Breakker's career? Is this disrespectful to Brock Lesnar's legacy? Who wins at WrestleMania if this match gets made? I read every single comment on this channel and I respond to as many as I can, so get in there. If this video hit different, smash the like button because it genuinely helps this channel more than you know. Share this with every wrestling fan in your circle who needs to be talking about this moment. And if you are not subscribed to Ring Rumble 1 yet, what are you even doing? Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you in the next one. The Beast has been challenged. The dog has been unleashed. And WWE television will never feel quite the same again.